My brother discovered I'd been sleepwalking to our old house every night, which burned down 3 years ago. He'd installed a doorbell camera after packages kept going missing from his apartment, just a basic one that sends alerts to his phone. I'd been crashing at his place for a month after my roommate situation fell apart, sleeping on his couch, everything totally normal. The first week he mentioned I'd been tossing and turning a lot, maybe stressed from the move, but nothing concerning. Then one morning over coffee, he pulled out his phone with this weird expression and asked where I went last night. I told him nowhere. I'd been asleep by 10, but he turned his phone around and showed me crystal clear footage of me leaving at 3:33 a.m., fully dressed, walking with purpose like I had somewhere important to be. That's when things got strange because he'd been tracking me. Not in a creepy way, but after 3 nights of me leaving at exactly 3:33 a.m., he got curious and followed me. I walked 17 blocks to Maple Street where our childhood home used to stand, except there's nothing there now but an empty lot with black soil and dead grass where the fire happened. He said I stood in the exact spot where our front door used to be and knocked 3 times, waited, then walked through the non-existent doorway and disappeared into the lot. He thought maybe I walked around back, but when he checked, I was just standing in the middle of the empty space, moving through rooms that didn't exist, opening invisible doors, climbing stairs that weren't there, sitting down on nothing like there was furniture. He recorded everything on his phone, and when I watched it the next morning, my skin went cold. There I was, navigating that empty lot like our house was still standing, my hands turning doorknobs at the exact heights they used to be, ducking slightly where the low ceiling beam in the hallway had been. He followed me for 5 nights straight, and every single night I did the exact same routine: kitchen first, then dad's study, upstairs to check the bedrooms, back down to the living room where I'd sit in the air for exactly 40 minutes, then walk home. The precision was terrifying because I knew that house's layout perfectly after 18 years, but it had been ash and rubble for 3 years. My brother called Dr. Patel, who specialized in sleep disorders, convinced this was some kind of trauma response. She ran all these tests with electrodes on my head, monitoring my brainwaves, and said my sleepwalking was more extreme than anything she'd seen. But here's where it got worse. She had my brother check his doorbell footage from before I moved in, and there I was, walking past his building at 3:33 a.m., going the same direction for months. My apartment had been in the opposite direction from First Street, meaning I'd been walking an extra 30 blocks just to pass his place on the way to our old house. She ordered an MRI thinking maybe temporal lobe epilepsy, but everything came back normal. Then my brother discovered something that made Dr. Patel call in her colleagues. He'd asked our old neighbors if they'd seen me around, and Mrs. Smith from across the street turned white. She said she'd been seeing me go into that house every night, but thought she was dreaming because she could see me opening a door that wasn't there, disappearing behind walls that didn't exist. Her husband had seen it too, but didn't want to sound crazy. They'd been watching me walk through a ghost house for 3 years, and the worst part was their security camera that faced the lot showed nothing. On their footage, I just stood in the empty space, but with their own eyes, they saw me moving through rooms. Dr. Patel brought in a whole team: neurologists, psychiatrists, even a physicist who specialized in perception. They set up cameras all around the lot, had 5 different people watch me on a single night. The cameras showed me standing still in an empty field, but every single person saw me moving through a house. One researcher said he could actually hear my footsteps on stairs that weren't there. Another swore she heard doors closing. They tried waking me up mid-routine, but I'd just return the next night and continue from the exact point where I'd been interrupted, like a video game checkpoint. They tested the soil for chemicals, checked for gas leaks, electromagnetic fields. Everything came back normal. The breaking point came when my brother found my journal. Not a new one, but one I'd been keeping hidden apparently, filled with entries written in my handwriting about living in that house. Present tense entries about making breakfast in a kitchen that didn't exist, complaining about the squeaky step that had been vaporized, reminding myself to water plants that burned 3 years ago. Each entry was dated and detailed, describing furniture we'd sold before the fire, conversations with my parents who'd moved to Florida after it happened. I had no memory of writing any of it, but the ink was fresh, the dates current. My brother moved us both to a new apartment 50 miles away, but I still wake up at 3:33 a.m., even with sleeping pills, restraints, locked doors. He installed motion sensors and catches me trying to leave, fully asleep, my body oriented toward Maple Street like a compass needle. Mrs. Smith still calls sometimes, says she sees me in the lot even though we live 2 hours away now. My brother won't let me look at the footage anymore, says it's better if I don't know, but I hear him on the phone with Dr. Patel, voice shaking, saying, "She's in 2 places at once, that's not possible." I want to know what he means, but part of me is terrified that my body found a way to go home without me, and it doesn't care that home doesn't exist anymore.